Happy New Year, everyone. Now, I don't know if I have anyone on here yet, but I figure why not get started here. Happy New Year, everyone. Now, I don't know if I have. Okay, so it looks like. Oh, hey, Hunter, how's it going there? Well, guess what? You are about to. Yep, I'm doing pretty good. Hope you're doing good as well. And if you're just joining in, well, you're about to see how I'm going to kick off 2021. And it may not seem so exciting, depending on what, I mean, it may not be like your typical, like, uh, overnight party or lighting off fireworks or like just getting plastered or anything like that. But it's going to be kind of a prelude to what's going to be kind of like my focus into going into next year, kind of like moving on up, kind of like making some progression. And I'd like to say that I've gotten pretty far along in terms of my knowledge base, but got to step it up a little more this upcoming year. Planning on starting my master's in data science program. So while I'm at it, let's go. I'm going to take you on over here. And what you see here is you see that I'm on my SQL command prompt line. And so I'm going to do is I'm going to look for, let's see, I'm using MySQL. I've been using a lot of Oracle, practicing SQL using Oracle. So generally, the basic syntax and the general format of SQL is going to be pretty much the same across different relational databases, relational data I'm losing my words here, but there's going to be some slight variation in terms of like the syntax. Let's say if you're using Oracle or Postgres SQL or MySQL, but I'm using a MySQL here. And so the first thing I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to just kind of see what databases I have. So I'm going to say show databases. And SQL is in terms of like capitalization, it doesn't matter. It's not it's case insensitive. The only time case matters is like when you're actually like say extracting like a first or last name or like an email, and if it's in all caps. But that's later on down the line. So these are all the databases which many I created, but they don't have any tables in them. So it's not going to do any good to be doing some SQL queries without any tables. So I want to say employees is probably going to be my go-to. So I'm going to say use employees. All right. Now I'm going to see show tables. Forgot that. Cool. All right. So let's go ahead and start off with the employees table. So the most basic SQL query you can do, I mean, whether you're starting off brand like a complete novice, beginner, intermediate, the very first thing you're going to do when you write in your first SQL query is you're going to just pretty much select every single row and every single column. You got to think of how data is stored in a relational database is in tables. And just think of like your Excel spreadsheet. You've got your columns, which has got like your attributes, like your first name, last name. Let's say you're dealing with an employees table. First name, last name, phone number, age, what their position is, what their salary may be, who their boss is. And then you've got each record. Each row is like considered a record. So if I pull up, if I do the very basics select statement, which every query you write is going to always begin with the select statement. And then I'm going to use the star character. That's going to select all records from. So the select and from is going to be in every query there is. Select from employees. And that's pretty much it's pulling every single record because I selected all. Now, if you were to do that on the job, you're probably not going to make your database administrator too happy because as you can see, this is not a very big data set, but it's taking a little bit to run. So it kind of shows that if you're going to use the star to select every single record, you might want to use a little bit of caution because as you can see, I said this wasn't too big of a data set, but if you're talking about millions of rows, millions of records, yeah, you're not gonna you're probably gonna you're gonna hear about it. Okay, so while that's waiting to go, I'm gonna see if I've got any more comments on here. Okay, so far, not too much action yet, but like I said, this is kind of just like a live streaming video that I decided to do. I had uploaded a video earlier in the day, but I took it down because the lighting wasn't very good, and I don't know, it was just kind of. It's been a while since I've done a live stream, so why not? Thank you, Himini. Happy New Year to you as well. And as you can see, thank you for joining in. And while I'm waiting for my SQL query to run, I'm going to go ahead and pop on over to my, let's see, I'm going to pop on over to Python here. So as you can see, I'm kind of bringing in the new year by doing a little bit of Python and structured query language, SQL. So now I'm in Jupyter Notebook. It's a very popular software to use when coding. And so pretty much when using Python, they always, whether you're taking a course or whether you're taking like a college course or Udemy course or Coursera, you're going to hear about this term hello world. Now that's pretty much how they always start things off. So why not? Let's just start with hello world. So what's going to happen if I type in hello world here? And if I press enter, well, voila, it's going to print out hello world. Okay, let's go ahead and insert another row here below. And what's really cool about Python is you can kind of just start out by using it like as a calculator, and it can do some pretty complex mathematical operations. So don't get me wrong, Python, but I don't think too many people, if they're doing a math course or if they're like studying for their calculus class, are going to probably want to download Anaconda and download Jupyter Notebooks and use Python to do their math. But why not? I mean, if you wanted to, you could download Python and use it as a calculator. So let's just start off nice and basic here. So we'll just do like 8 times 8. And if I run that, 64. Now I want to make sure that each time I run these cells, I'm not having to manually insert. We can do another calculation here. We can do 7 plus 8 times 3. And so some of you may be thinking, well, that's going to be 7 plus 8 is 15 times 3 is 45. Well, you would be wrong, because if you all have recently had your arithmetic classes, you know, PEMDAS, well, you do like what's inside the parentheses first, and like exponents, and then you go to like multiplication and division, and then addition and subtraction. Well, what's actually going to happen is it's going to actually evaluate the 8 times 3 first, and then plus 7. So that's pretty cool there. All right, so now when it comes to like Python, you've got whenever you store, like, let's say I'm going to create my first variable, and I'm just going to name it A, and I'm going to assign it the value of 8. So basically what this is doing is it's storing this in a particular spot in my computer's memory. So so once I hit the control button here, and this is not really meant to be a tutorial video, I'm just kind of like just doing this as kind of for fun, just might as well kick off 2021 on a positive note here. So I'm going to go ahead and hit that. So now I've assigned the value 8 to the variable A. So now what happens if I type in A here? It's going to show up as 8. Now another cool thing is I can assign another variable. Let's assign that to, let's say, 7. And once again, I want to make sure I do that. What's really cool here is I can do what's A plus B, because basically what I'm doing is I'm adding the two values I assigned to each of these two variables. So I assigned 8 plus B, and if I run enter, that's 15. Now what you guys are going to be seeing me do as we get close to the midnight hour, like I'll probably start it at in about 4 minutes. You're going to see me do what's been known to be a very popular coding task when doing a job interview. They call it FizzBuzz, and it's very common, or at least it used to be very common in coding interviews when you're going in for a job interview. I'm not sure if it still is, but it was pretty much guaranteed that if you're going in for a coding interview, that you would be asked to do the FizzBuzz. So I'm going to be demonstrating that, but I'm going to be adding a little bit of a twist to it. I'm going to kind of be adding a little bit of complexity to it. It does involve control flow, some if then and whatnot. So I'm going to start that in about 3 minutes here. I'm going to see how things are going over here. Okay, so all right. Good, that's good to go. Okay, so let's hop on back over to my, see, this is still running. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna have to escape. Yeah, this is, see, this was a huge, that was a bad move on my part. Okay, so let's see, that's not working out so well. So what I'm gonna do here is we're pretty much gonna have to, because I've tried hitting, no, that's not gonna work there. I don't wanna risk anything. So the best thing for me to do is I'm probably just going to exit out of that. And let's just come on over here to my SQL workbench. And so the thing I should have done is I should have done limit. When I use a limit clause, that's going to limit the amount of records that are returned. So this is what I should have done. Limit, and let's just return 10. I just want to return 10 records here. And so there you have it. 10 records were returned. Okay, so now as you can see, like I mentioned, you got each of these as a row or a record, and then each of these up here is a column. So let's say that you don't want to select every single column. The next thing you can do is you can select certain rows. You can say like, I'm going to select first name and last name, from employees, and I'm going to make sure this time that I limit, let's just do limit 20 records. I'm going to return 20 records from this. I'm going to hit the lightning bolt. Cool, voila. All right, I think we're going to hop back on over to my Python notebook here, and let's see how we're doing for time. Okay, so I got 1 more minute before I begin this FizzBuzz challenge. So thank you all in for joining in. You're seeing how I'm going to kick off 2021. And so basically, I'm going to pretty much be doing what's been, if you're just joining in, I apologize if you're hearing me repeat myself, but if you're just joining in, you're going to be seeing me do a coding exercise that's typically been used in a lot of coding interviews when going in for a job. And so I'm not sure if it's still used that often, but regardless, I think it is still. It's called the FizzBuzz coding challenge, or the coding task, or whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to hop on over to my Python notebook here. Let's go ahead and I'm just going to kind of get that stuff out of the way up above. All right, so okay, so let's see. So and it's been a little bit since I've done Python, because over the past let's see. I'm gonna do so let's just kind of start off. Okay, so so what I can do here is I'm gonna create a list here. So I'm gonna create a variable. I'm gonna say num list. I'm gonna create a num list is equal to, let's see, I'm gonna try something here. I'm gonna see if I have to download any libraries first. Range 1 through 100. Let's see now. Okay, so obviously I gotta cast that into a list. So I'm gonna say list range. I gotta hand it to those people that are actually able to do full-on tutorials on Python or coding, because I don't know, I would every time I kind of like do a mistyping, I would just like be embarrassed. But okay, there we go. So there, I've created my list range. Okay, that's cool. All right, So I think we're on our way here. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to kind of explain what I'm going to do first. So let's go ahead and put this in Markdown. I'm going to put it in Markdown. So what I'm going to do here is I am going to do FizzBuzz Deluxe. FizzBuzz Deluxe. So essentially what I'm going to do is I am going to print out a list of numbers from 1 to 100, and if the number is divisible by 4 and 8, let's kind of make this interesting. Let's do 4 if it's divisible by 4 and 7. What else are good? Let's do, what's a good, let's see, what makes 21? 3 and 7, 3 times 7. Let's see, yeah, just do divisible by 3 and 7, print FizzBuzz. But I'm going to do it in lowercase because I'm going to add a little bit of a twist to it. Print FizzBuzz. So if it's divisible by print FizzBuzz, but if the number is over 50 and divisible by 3 and 7, print FizzBuzz in all caps. So it's going to be in all caps. If it's under 50, if it's 50 or less, it's going to be FizzBuzz in lowercase. Okay, so that's the first part. The next part is if a number is divisible by 7 and is over 50, print, let's do buzz. So buzz in all caps. If it's under 50 and divisible by 7, print buzz. And then the same pattern, I'm just going to, if it's divisible, if a number is divisible by 3, print fizz or fizz, depending on if it's over 50 or not. So first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and come on down here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create the beginning of this program. So for num in, let's try this first. I just want to make sure I do this right. So for num in range 1 through, I'm just doing a little trial here. Print num. I just want to see what happens here. Okay, cool. So I don't have to cast it to a list when I'm doing this. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. So I want to print 1 to 100. So what I have to do here is I have to actually type 101 because it's not going to include that final number. So if I do that, we just go ahead and start off here. Okay, so we got that. Pretty boring, huh? Nothing exciting there, but this is where the fun begins. For num and run. And then here's all the if then, else then. Let's see how I'm doing over here. If anyone else has joined in. Hey, how's it going there, Matt? Thank you for joining in. Yep, you're seeing I'm breaking in 2021. I am doing a coding challenge that's typically asked in a lot of job interviews, which is the FizzBuzz challenge. But I'm kind of adding a little twist to it. I figured, why not kick off 2021 by doing some coding to kind of set the tone for 2021. And so thank you all for joining in. So let me get back to my notebook here. So right now, so if num is if num modulo, let's see, so 7, if num modulo 7, so num modulo 7 is is equal to, now you're wondering why can't I put just a regular equal sign? The reason for that is the equal sign in Python is used to assign variables, to assign values to a variable. So if I were to put this a single equal sign here, I would get a syntax error. So that's why you're seeing me put the double equal sign. And I want that to be divisible by 0. And num is equal. No, I want to say num is modulo. So meaning what this percent sign is, that's a modulo. So it's basically saying if a number is divisible by 7, it's going to be there should be 0 in the remainder. So essentially what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make sure that if a number is both divisible by 7 and divisible by 3, meaning it's got 0 remainder, that's how I'm going to be able to print out that FizzBuzz. So if num percent 7, I've got 3 more minutes till the beginning of the new year. Let's see, yep, 3 more minutes. Here we go. Now, of course, I'm not going to get done with this before the beginning of the new year. So if num percent 7 and num modulo 3 is equal to 0, and then here's where it gets a little challenging, because now I'm going to do like a nest. It's like a nested if statement. So, and then if num divided, then and if num is greater than 50, print FizzBuzz. And then I'm going to go ahead and print that. Else, this isn't SQL here. Okay, else print FizzBuzz. Okay, and then I'm going to come back out here. Elif num, and what did I say up here? Okay, yeah, if elif num is divisible by 7 equals 0. Then I'm going to come back in here and go if num greater than 50, print. Okay, so we're about to approach a new year here, so I might as well make this kind of exciting. There's going to be a little break in the programming here. Happy New Year, everyone. Thank you for joining in, Sam. You're watching me do a little coding challenge here to break in the new year. But I'm going to take a little break from that because we're about to approach midnight here. But as soon as midnight approaches, I'll get back to my coding challenge. But I'm going to get something ready here. And it is one of these Confetti Cat, these confetti cannons. And I don't know. Oh, it is midnight. It is now midnight. 2020 is history. So here we go. I'm going to see how well this goes. Okay. Okay. This is probably gonna hurt my ears. I don't know. Wish me luck. All right. Wow. Okay, that wasn't so bad. Okay, now back to my coding challenge. Happy New Year to all of you out there. Yep. This is how you kick off a new year, doing something positive, doing something to keep your mind free from those dark thoughts or whatever they may be. So here I am, you're joining me on doing the very first thing of 2021, which is attempting to not embarrass myself. And I've done this several times, but you got to excuse me because I've been really focusing on my Oracle SQL certification the past few months. And yes, that's what I'm going to be one of the first things I'm going to be doing in 2021 is I'm going to be going for my Oracle SQL certification. So that's going to be pretty huge. It's going to be a big boost to my resume. So excuse me if I'm kind of a little rusty with my Python, but it's not going to take me long to get it back. I know that. I'm not too worried about that, but why not? It's good to have some fun here. So you're seeing me, if you're just joining in, you're seeing me do a very typical coding exercise that's used in job interviews. And I apologize if you've heard me say the same thing over and over again, but I'm just going to try to get back into this, just kind of mumble and rant as I'm going along. So that kind of makes it a little bit more challenging too. So I'm going to say print, and what was the word I was looking here? Buzz, but I want it to be in all caps. Okay, good. Else, and that's got to be lowercase, else. And I think I might have an error here. Yep, there's an error right there. There we go. Because otherwise, I'm going to get a syntax error there. See, it comes back pretty quick. Okay. What's going to be really embarrassing is like I spend like the next 30 minutes, like after I write the program, spend like 30 minutes trying to figure out, it's like, why isn't it not running? Okay, else print lowercase. I want it to be in lowercase. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. All right, so now I'm back to my next elif. Elif num is divisible by 3 equals to 0. I'm going to go I want to print. Oops, I got to do my nested if num is greater than 50. Print, and what was the other word? Fizz, was it fizz? Yeah, fizz. But I want it to be in all caps. Else print. There we go. All right. And so I think so far that's looking so good. And then I'm going to come down over here and I'm going to say else print. I'm going to say print none. Okay, I'm going to say print the. I'm going to use some I got to put the number in here. The number. I'm going to say the number. Let's see if I can do this correctly. The number such. So basically what I'm doing here is I'm using some what they refer to as S strings here. I'm putting in these brackets here, the iterate. Excuse me, I'm getting my terms mixed up here, but I'm putting like this num iterator in here. So it's basically going to print the number, whatever the number is. If it's not divisible by 3 or 7, you'll see in a moment what I'm getting at. The number 3 or whatever number needs more. But oh shoot, and unfortunately my keyboard, like this this mouse, or what it's like mouse on my keyboard, is activated, and I don't really like that because if I touch it, it does that, and I just want to use my mouse. Needs more. Okay, needs more fizz and buzz for this new. Yeah. Okay, let's see how well this worked out. Okay, wish me luck, everyone. All right, looks like I was successful. That's exactly what. But let's go ahead and make that a capital T. All right, so I believe you have successfully. I have successfully achieved doing this coding exercise in front of you guys without totally embarrassing myself. Yep, the number 1. So basically, if you see this, it means that it's not divisible by 3 or 7. Let's see here. So the number 4 needs more fizz. Let's see. So that's divisible. Yep. And then if we get you'll notice that once we get above 50, it should be. Looks like I have a little. Yep. There we go. Yeah. So that's what I was looking for, to make sure that once I got above 50, the number it was put in all caps. So it looks like I got my code to successfully run, guys. Oh, what a way to kick off 2021. Let me see how we're doing over here. See who else is joining in. Happy New Year, Zephyr Jones. Happy New Year, Nighthawk. Thank you all for joining in. Let's see now. So, yeah, I think that's pretty much it for now. I mean, I could hop on back over to my SQL, but I think that was a pretty good way to kick off 2021. Just kind of showing you guys what my mind's really been into. Like I said, I've been doing a lot with Oracle SQL, and I don't have that uploaded on this computer that I'm using. I'm using my older computer. My newer computer, which is a gaming computer, which is supposed to be a lot more powerful, hence that's where I've been doing most of my coding on, and some of my coursework and whatnot. Doesn't have a web camera, so I'm going to have to get a web camera for that computer. So I'm using my older computer, and I don't have Oracle downloaded on this computer. So otherwise, I'd be showing you guys SQL using Oracle, but I don't have it on here. So, but once I do get a webcam, I might, I might take myself up on the challenge of doing some tutorial videos, and they'll be like 3 to 5 minute tutorial video, starting up with the very basics, like the select times from, and then maybe moving up to like selecting certain columns. So let me just give you an example. If you guys are been patient enough to stick along with me here, you guys will see a quick example of what a tutorial video might look like for me. So let's just imagine that here I am. I'm on my database, relational database management system. And so I would be saying, okay, hello, welcome to my first tutorial. For many of you out there, if you're watching this video, you're probably new to SQL. Well, I'm going to show you some very basic SQL queries. And I'll just start off by saying the very most basic query you could probably do is you could just do a select 8 times 8. And so essentially what you're doing is what I'm doing here is I'm just doing a simple calculation. So that's probably how it would start off, which is no matter what, every single query you have is going to have the select clause in it. And I would probably just do a select, maybe just focus on the select and from clause only. So that way I don't get the videos too long. But I'm probably going to do some I'm going to probably do some practice first, like some without doing like putting it up to YouTube, do some practice first, kind of get my typing down so I don't make too many mistakes when I'm typing. And like I said, there'll be about 3 to 5 minute videos, and I'll be like, okay, so now you guys know that every query begins with a select. Now pretty much the most basic query you're going to do is to select from employees, but to limit the amount of records, I'm going to probably say you'd want to use limit. So let's say I want to return 7 records. I'm going to hit the lightning bolt here, so return. But with Oracle, it's different. There is no limit clause in Oracle. It's different. It's like fetch first 5 rows or something. I'd have to kind of review my notes, but it's different. So there are some differences in terms of the syntax when using different relational database management systems like Postgres, MySQL, SQLite, Oracle, Microsoft, and I think even yeah, so there's going to be some differences in terms of like the syntax, but generally, if you know SQL using one relational database management system, you can pretty much figure out how to use SQL in the other one. So that's what I'm going to do in some of my upcoming videos. Once I do get a webcam from my other computer, I'm kind of a little rusty on MySQL in terms of like the different functions you can do and whatnot. So I'll leave it at that. And so let me just hop on back over to my notebook here in Python. So, yep. Let's see. So, let's see. So, favorite coding. Let's see. Favorite programming language equals Python. I'm just being goofy here now. All right. Now if I type in favorite programming language, and voila, it's going to print out Python. If I want to print favorite. Oh, while I'm at it, let's see, who do I have? Who do I still have here? Okay. Well, I am still at it here. Let me see if I can pull up some of the projects that I have done. So while I'm at it here, I'm going to kind of pull up some of my see if I can find some of my projects on here. I'm going to hop back on over here, and this is just some of the stuff that I've done. Let's see if I can go OneDrive. I want to see if I can find it here. Let's see, where is it here? Data Quest. See if I go GitHub projects. See if I can find anything GitHub. Oh yeah, here's one of my here was like the very first project I uploaded to my GitHub account, which is like a public repository where people like can upload like their projects, and people can like get their like it's a pretty cool website. So I want to say I have 2 copies of it on here. Copy 2. There was Mount Baker Snowfall. Let's see, so this was one of the very first projects I did. So yep, here it is. So this is like, I'm not going to go into too much detail, but as you can see here, the different visualizations I did. Yeah, so this was one of the very first projects I did, creating a bunch of different graphs here. Pretty much a classic data analyst project, comparing snowfall between the Mount Baker ski area and Paradise Mount Rainier. And so I created some pie charts, and then I created like uh, a chart. And so this I have a modified version where I actually did a rolling average, and I want to see if I can find that one because the rolling average gives a better sense of that one. But I don't think I have that one on this computer. I would have to go onto my new computer where actually, if we come back here, I update it to where I have a rolling average. You can see the trends in snowfall a little more clearly. Like this is pretty jagged here, so you can't really any trends in snowfall over the past 50 years. You can't really make out too well. But when you do use a rolling average, it's easier to see the trends. Now, the next step is to maybe do like run a prediction model like okay what's the predicted snowfall say for like 2020 2030. That's going to be like the next step to this project is like adding like a prediction model. And so that's probably some of the things I'll learn once I take like a machine learning course. Let's see if I can find another project I did on here. I don't know, I don't have much left on this computer here. uh don't really have much. I thought I had more, but I guess I don't. Let's see if I can find oh, here we go. Yeah, Udacity. Let's see. Yeah, we Udacity project. We write dog. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Yeah, like here's one of the projects I did for a Udacity now degree. Let's see if I can find it. Wrangle report. Okay, so this was that's just my that's nothing interesting there. So yeah, this is some of the stuff that I did. So as you can see here, this is just me getting some code to run, more graphs and charts. And then if I had to use like resources, like yeah, I would often refer to Stack Overflow. That's like my go-to site. And if I need like help with like a coding difficulty or whatnot, but yep. So a lot of this stuff, yeah, would come back pretty quick. It's been a little bit since I've done some of this, but like I said, it's you just got a repetition. Like I said, it probably wouldn't take long for me to get back to where I was, and that's the joy of finding work in this career field is you're doing it on a daily basis, and if you're doing something on a daily basis, you're not going to really forget it. So aside from that, I think I am going to close out this video because it looks like everyone is kind of headed off to bed or whatnot. So once again, I want to thank you all for joining in on this live streaming video. Just kind of wanted to make things a little interesting. So now you saw how I kicked off 2021. So I'm going to finish off by saying, hope all of you out there have a prosperous 2021. Thank you all for watching. Peace out.